The Galactic Records Chamber was the quietest place in the galaxy. It had no windows, no doors that opened by hand, and no sound except the soft hum of machines that had been working for thousands of years. Millions of worlds were stored inside its systems. Every planet had a record. Every species had a history. Every government, military, trade route, and border was listed. The Galactic Council believed that if a world existed, its name would be somewhere inside this chamber. That belief was about to become very dangerous. Senior Records Officer Velon sat alone at his station. He had been working for almost 27 years, and he had learned one important rule. Never spend too much time on an old file. Old files caused problems. They contained outdated information, missing reports, and forgotten requests. That morning, Velan was cleaning a group of old records when one file appeared on his screen. Cell System. Velan stopped. He opened the file. A small blue planet appeared in the center of the display. Earth species, human, age young, technology, developing. Military power, low. Political status, pending. Council membership, application pending. Last review, 41 years ago. Velan raised an eyebrow. 41 years? His assistant looked at the screen. That seems wrong. It is not wrong, Velan said. It is forgotten. He opened the application history. There were no recent reports, no council visits, no military reports, no diplomatic messages, nothing. Earth had sent a membership request 41 years earlier. Then someone had placed the file in a waiting queue, and nobody had looked at it again. Velan sighed. How many worlds are in this queue? Thousands. Then Earth is not special. His assistant looked at the old human report. Should we send a review team? Velan laughed. For a primitive planet? He closed the report. The Council had more important problems. Wars were happening on 3 borders. 2 star systems were fighting over trade routes. Several planets were asking for military protection. Nobody had time for young species from a small yellow star. Velan opened the status menu. The file was marked ACTIF, pending review. He changed it. Inactive, no currents, Cornsil status. His finger moved toward the final button. For a moment, he looked at the image of Earth. Blue oceans, white clouds, a small planet floating in darkness. Then he pressed Confirm. The file disappeared. Earth was removed from the official galactic records. Velan moved to the next file. He never knew what he had done. He never knew that, at that exact moment, a completely different system received an order. Far away from Earth, an alien listening station was floating near the edge of the Sol system. The station had watched humanity for years. It had studied human radio signals. It had recorded military launches. It had followed human satellites. It had watched humanity move from early space travel toward more advanced technology. The station never attacked. It only watched. Then its central computer suddenly received a new message. Target status invalid. The computer checked the message. Target, Sol 3, Stat US, not found. A second message appeared. Observation, protocol, terminated. The station turned toward deep space. Its engines started. Slowly, it moved away from Earth. For years, humans had wondered why the strange object never left. Now it was gone, and nobody knew why. On Earth, Dr. Mara Van noticed the change. She was a space scientist working at a research station in Canada. Her job was to study unusual objects near Earth. The alien listening station had been one of her biggest mysteries. For 6 years, she had watched it. She had studied its movements. She knew it was not human. She also knew that it was not dangerous, at least not yet. That morning, Mara was looking at the station's last known position when she suddenly noticed something strange. The signal had stopped. She checked the equipment. Everything was working. She checked the satellite connection. It was normal. She checked the tracking system. The station was gone. Mara stared at the screen. Where did it go? Her assistant, Daniel, walked into the room. What happened? The station disappeared. Destroyed? No. Moved? Mara shook her head. If it moved, we would have seen it. She searched the old tracking records. Nothing. Then she opened the alien database that her team had built from years of captured signals. She searched for the station. Nothing appeared. Mara tried again. Still nothing. Then she searched for Sol. The system returned an error. She searched for Earth. The same result. No match found. Mara slowly stood up. Daniel looked confused. Doctor? Pound. Mara slowly stood up. Daniel looked confused. Search it again. He did. Nothing. Try every backup. Daniel followed her order. 10 minutes later, he looked at her with a pale face. It is not there. What is not there? What is not there? Earth. Mara did not answer. She walked toward his station. On the screen was a long list of alien worlds. Thousands of names. Hundreds of star systems. But Sol was missing. Earth was missing. Humanity was missing. Mara opened an old report that had been saved years earlier. It described Earth as a young civilization. The report said humans had limited space technology. It said Earth had no major military fleet. It said humanity was not considered a threat. At the bottom was one line. Council members' application. Pending. Mara stared at the date. 41 years old. Then she understood. Earth had not been attacked. Earth had not surrendered. Earth had not been destroyed. The galaxy had simply stopped recognizing it. Someone had deleted humanity from the records. Mara looked through the window. The night sky was filled with stars. For centuries, humans had looked at those stars and wondered if someone was looking back. Now she knew the answer. Someone had been looking. And now they were gone. At first, the idea seemed almost comforting. No alien surveillance. No unknown visitors. No council interference. Earth was free, but Mara quickly understood the other side of that freedom. If the galaxy believed Earth did not exist, then Earth had also lost its protection. She turned toward Daniel. What happens to a planet that has no record? Daniel thought for a moment. No protection. Mara nodded, and no one to answer for it. The room became silent. Then Mara said something that made everyone stop working. If the galaxy thinks we don't exist anymore, she looked at the dark sky. Who will stop someone from coming here? 3 days passed. Nothing happened. Then, on the 4th day, a strange object appeared beyond the moon. It was not a council ship. It was not a research vessel. It was not a research vessel. It was not human. A large alien ship entered the solar system. Its hull was covered with old scars. Its engines were weak. Its weapons were outdated. But its crew knew exactly what they were looking for. Earth. The ship belonged to a group of alien salvagers. They searched for abandoned planets, broken stations, and worlds without protection. Their captain looked at the old galactic map. Earth was marked as an unprotected system. The captain smiled. No council defense? None. No registered military fleet? None. Any active government protection? Nothing. The captain leaned back in his chair. Then we found an easy world. His crew began preparing for landing. They believed Earth was weak. They believed humanity was still the primitive species described in the old report. They believed nobody would come to help. But they did not know one thing. The old report was 41 years out of date, and during those 41 years, humanity had been watching the stars too. The alien ship moved deeper into the solar system. On Earth, nobody knew exactly what was coming, but somewhere beneath the surface, inside a facility that did not appear on any map, a warning light suddenly turned red. A sleeping system began to wake. Then another, and another. For 41 years, humanity had been forgotten by the galaxy. Now, something had finally come looking for Earth, and humanity was ready to answer. The alien salvage ship moved deeper into the solar system. Its crew was not afraid. They had entered hundreds of abandoned systems before. Most planets were easy targets. If a world had no council protection, there was usually no one to stop them. Earth looked even easier. The old galactic records showed a young species with weak technology, no major fleet, and no active council status. To the aliens, Earth was not a dangerous world. It was a prize. Captain Varric stood in the command room and watched the blue planet grow larger on the main screen. "Begin the scan," he ordered. A technician activated the ship's scanners. The screen filled with information. Oceans, cities, satellites, air traffic, military bases. The technician frowned. "There is more activity than expected." Varric looked at him. "What kind of activity?" "Several military signals." The captain laughed. "Primitive weapons?" "Possibly." "Then we have nothing to worry about." "Possibly." "Then we have nothing to worry about." The ship continued toward Earth. Varric selected a target on the planet, a remote human military facility in the middle of a desert. It appeared small, old, almost abandoned. There were no large ships around it, no visible defense towers, no powerful energy fields. Varric smiled. "That is our first target." The crew prepared for landing. Their plan was simple. Destroy the facility, take whatever technology survived, then leave before anyone understood what had happened. The alien ship entered Earth's atmosphere. Human radar systems detected it immediately. Deep inside the desert facility, an alarm began to sound. A young officer looked at his screen. Unknown ship entering the atmosphere. The room became silent. Another officer checked the data. "It is the same ship we detected 3 days ago." The commander walked toward the main screen. "How many?" "One large ship." "Any support vessels?" "None." The commander looked calm. "Let them land." The young officer looked surprised. "Sir, let them come closer." Outside, the alien ship descended toward the desert. The crew saw no fighters, no missiles, no human ships. Varric smiled. "They really are helpless." The ship landed several kilometers from the military facility. Its doors opened. Dozens of armed aliens stepped onto the ground. They carried heavy weapons. Their armor was designed for combat. The facility stood in the distance. It looked completely quiet. Varric raised one hand. "Move." The aliens advanced. They expected resistance. Nothing happened. They reached the outer fence. Still nothing. Varric smiled. Too easy. Then the ground moved. At first, the aliens thought it was an earthquake. Then, the desert split open. A massive metal structure rose from beneath the sand. The aliens froze. Large weapons turned toward them. Hidden defense towers came alive. Energy began moving through their systems. Varric stared at the towers. "What is that?" Nobody answered. The first defense weapon fired. The blast hit an alien vehicle and threw it across the desert. The aliens panicked. "Fall back!" Another weapon fired, then another. The quiet desert suddenly became a battlefield. The alien crew ran toward their ship, but the human defense system was already active. The facility had never been abandoned. It had been waiting. Inside the command center, the human commander watched the battle. "Do not destroy the ship," he ordered. An officer looked at him. "Sir, we can destroy it." "I know." "Then why are we holding back?" The commander looked at the screen. "Because we want them to leave." The officer understood. They wanted the aliens to tell someone what they had seen. Outside, the salvage crew was losing control. Their landing ship was damaged. Several soldiers were down. Varric ran toward the ship. He looked back at the human facility. The weapons were still firing. But there was something strange. The humans were not using their strongest weapons. They were giving the aliens a chance to escape. Varric did not understand why. His ship lifted from the ground. The surviving crew rushed inside. "Get us out of here." The ship rose into the sky. For a few seconds, Varric believed they had escaped. Then something appeared above them, a ship, a human ship. It came out of the clouds without warning. Varric stared at it. What is that? The technician could barely speak. I don't know. The ship was unlike anything in the old Galactic records. It was large, dark, smooth. Its shape was built for speed, not comfort. There were no old human markings, no weak engines, no primitive weapons. It looked like a machine designed only for war. The human ship moved in front of the alien vessel. Varric ordered his pilot to stop. The human ship stopped too. For several seconds, neither ship fired. Varric scanned it. His computer returned almost nothing. Why can't we identify it? The technician shook his head. It is not in the database. Varric stared at the screen. That is impossible. The old records had shown every known human vessel. Humanity was not supposed to have a ship like this. Then, another human ship appeared. Then a third. Then 5 more. They came silently from different directions. The alien crew became terrified. Varric looked around the command room. How many? The technician checked the sensors. I don't know. Give me a number. There are too many. Varric, too many. Varric stood frozen. For the first time since entering the solar system, he felt fear. The human fleet surrounded his ship, but they did not attack. Varric looked at the nearest human vessel. A signal appeared on his screen. An incoming communication. He accepted it. A human voice spoke calmly. You entered our territory without permission. Varric swallowed. We did not know this was protected. You should have checked. We checked. The human voice became quiet. Bennett said, You checked an old record. The communication ended. Varric stared at the screen. The words stayed in his mind. You checked an old record. His ship slowly moved away from the human fleet. The human ships allowed it. No missile followed. No fighter chased them. They simply watched. Varric did not understand. Why let them escape? Why show them such powerful ships? Then he realized the answer. Humanity wanted them to talk. The alien ship left the solar system at maximum speed. Inside the command room, the crew was silent. Nobody wanted to speak about what they had seen. Varric finally opened a secure communication channel. He contacted the nearest alien network. His message was short. Only one sentence. Earth is not primitive. He sent it. The message traveled through several systems, then through the main Galactic communication network. Within minutes, it reached the Galactic Council. Inside the Council records chamber, an alert appeared. UN Undinur, Human Military Technology to Tutsect. Senior officers gathered around the display. One of them frowned. Human, another officer opened the old Earth file. He stared at the empty screen. There is no active record. Check again. The system searched. Nothing. Then an older officer remembered something. Wait. Everyone turned toward him. He looked at the date of the old file. 41 years. His face changed. Earth. The room became silent. The council had forgotten the planet. But now, someone had reminded them. The deleted world was alive, and it had a fleet. The council officers began opening sealed archives. Old reports appeared. Earth, humanity, Sol system, pending membership, primitive technology, no major military power. The old information was still there, but now nobody believed it. A new message arrived from the damaged salvage ship. The message contained only a few words. Do not approach Earth. Then another line appeared. They were waiting for us. For the first time in 41 years, the Galactic Council looked toward the Sol system, and this time they were not looking at a primitive world. They were looking at a mystery, because nobody knew what humanity had built during the years when the galaxy stopped watching, and the Council was about to find out. The Galactic Council did not sleep that night. For 41 years, Earth had been nothing more than a forgotten file. Now the Council had a problem. A salvage ship had entered the Sol system expecting an easy target. It had returned damaged. Its captain was terrified. And the most disturbing part was not the human defense system in the desert, it was the fleet. The Council had no record of those ships, no record of their weapons. No record of their engines. No record of the technology that had allowed a forgotten planet to build a fleet without anyone noticing. Council investigators began searching everything they had about Earth. Old reports were opened. Old signals were restored. Old satellite records were studied. At first, they found nothing unusual. Then one investigator found something. A signal. It was 43 years old. The signal had come from the Sol system. The investigator opened the file. A strange object had entered Earth's atmosphere. It had crashed. The report was incomplete. The council had never followed up. The investigator checked the location. It was on Earth. He opened another file, then another. Slowly, the truth began to appear. The alien listening station had not always been in space. Years ago, a smaller version of the station had crashed on Earth. Human scientists had found it. They had studied it. They had taken it apart, and then they had done something the Council had never expected. They had learned from it. Humanity had discovered alien materials, alien power systems, alien communication technology, even parts of alien weapons. The investigators were shocked. But the worst discovery came later. Humans had not simply copied the technology. They had changed it. They had made it smaller, faster, more efficient. One council scientist stared at the data. That cannot be right. Another officer looked at him. Why? Because this engine is better than ours. The room became silent. The council had believed humans were primitive, but the evidence said something very different. For decades, humanity had been learning in secret. The galaxy had stopped watching Earth. Humanity had used that silence. Deep beneath the surface of the planet, human scientists had built laboratories that did not appear on any satellite map. In underground factories, engineers had created machines from alien technology. In hidden shipyards, they had built warships. And in secret military bases, they had tested weapons. The most important part was that the Council had seen none of it. The galaxy had forgotten Earth. Earth had not forgotten the galaxy. The Council quickly changed its plans. A diplomatic ship was ordered to travel to Sol. Its mission was simple: meet the humans, understand their technology, and make sure Earth did not become a threat. But before the ship could leave, another power received the salvage captain's message. The message traveled through criminal networks, private traders, and military channels. One alien empire noticed it: the Card Dominion. The Dominion had controlled hundreds of worlds for centuries. Its fleets were massive. Its soldiers were trained from birth. Its leaders believed weaker civilizations existed to serve stronger ones. When the Dominion heard about Earth, its military leaders became interested. A forgotten world, a young species, new technology, no official council protection. To the Dominion, Earth looked like an opportunity. Its war council met within hours. The Dominion commander studied images of the human ships. "They are stronger than expected," one officer said. The commander nodded. "That is exactly why we attack now." Another officer looked surprised. "Before the council reaches them, before Earth builds more ships." The decision was made. The Dominion fleet began moving toward Sol. Millions of ships prepared for departure. Back on Earth, humanity was already aware that something was coming. Human intelligence had intercepted a transmission. It was not clear at first. Then the scientists understood. A large military force was moving toward Earth. Dr. Mara Venn stood inside the underground command center as the information appeared on the main screen. "How many ships?" The military officer beside her answered carefully. "We are still counting. Give me an estimate." He looked at the screen. "Several million." Mara became silent. The number was difficult to understand. Millions of alien ships were moving toward the solar system. The Council diplomatic ship was also on its way. But it was too late. The Dominion had decided that Earth must be destroyed before humanity became stronger. Human leaders gathered in an underground command room. There was no panic. There were no arguments. They had spent decades preparing for a moment like this. A senior human commander named Elias Ward stood at the center of the room. He looked at the large display. The enemy fleet was still far away, but it was coming. One officer spoke. "The Council has sent us a message." "What do they want?" "They want our new technology." Elias looked at him. "Why?" They say it is too dangerous for an unregistered species. A few officers exchanged looks. Elias almost smiled. Unregistered? Yes. The council had offered protection. But there was a condition. Humanity had to surrender its advanced weapons and ship technology. The council claimed it was necessary for peace. Elias looked at the message for several seconds. Then he closed it. What is our answer? The room became quiet. Elias finally spoke. No. The officer nodded. He sent the response. Humanity will not surrender its technology. The council received the message. The diplomatic mission continued toward Earth, but it was already becoming clear that diplomacy would not be enough. Far beyond the solar system, the Dominion fleet crossed into human space. 1 million ships, then 2 million, then more. Human sensors tracked them as they approached. Every second the number grew. On Earth, warning systems began activating. Hidden doors opened beneath mountains. Underground hangars came alive. Old human ships began powering up. Many had not moved in decades. They had been built when the galaxy still believed humanity was weak. They had been waiting in darkness. Elias walked into the main command center. The room was filled with officers. Everyone was watching the same screen. The Dominion fleet had reached the edge of the solar system. Millions of ships filled the darkness. The sight was enough to frighten almost any civilization. But Elias did not move. He looked toward an old control panel. It had been covered for years. Dust covered its surface. A simple label was written across it. Project on. Elias placed his hand on the panel. An officer looked at him. Are you sure? Elias looked at the incoming fleet. Then he gave one quiet order. Wake the old ships. Deep beneath Earth, something answered. One engine started, then another, then hundreds. Across the solar system, hidden doors began opening, and for the first time the Dominion was about to see the force humanity had been hiding from the galaxy. The war had not started yet, but the human fleet was awake. The Dominion fleet reached the edge of the solar system. Millions of ships filled the darkness. From a distance, they looked like a moving wall of metal and light. Every human sensor detected them. Every defense center on Earth went into full alert. But the Dominion commander was not worried. His fleet was larger than anything humanity had ever faced. The commander watched the Sol system on his main screen. Begin the attack. The first wave moved forward. Thousands of ships crossed the outer edge of human space. Then the human fleet appeared. At first, it looked small. Only a few hundred ships came forward. The Dominion commander smiled. That is all they have? His officers laughed. The human ships moved into position. Then the first weapons fired. The solar system exploded with light. Energy weapons crossed the darkness. Human ships moved between enemy formations. Some fired and escaped. Others were destroyed. The Dominion fleet was too large. Humanity could not stop it. One human ship took 3 direct hits. Its shields failed. The ship broke apart. Another human vessel disappeared under a wave of enemy fire. On Earth, officers watched the battle. The numbers were falling. Human ships were being destroyed. An officer looked at Elias Ward. We are losing the outer fleet. Elias remained calm. How long? Maybe 20 minutes. Good. The officer looked confused. Good. Elias looked at the screen. They think they are winning. Far away, the Dominion commander watched the same battle. His confidence grew. Pushed forward, more Dominion ships entered the solar system. The human fleet was forced backward. One human defense station near Mars was destroyed, then another. The Dominion believed the war was almost over. Their ships moved deeper into the solar system. They expected Earth to panic. They expected humanity to surrender. Instead, something strange happened. The human fleet stopped retreating. It simply disappeared. The Dominion commanders stared at the screen. Where did they go? His officers checked the sensors. They are still here. Then why can't we see them? No one knew. The human ships had entered a hidden network of tunnels and jump points. The Dominion had never seen them because they had never existed on galactic maps. They were not normal space routes. They were human-made paths. built over decades, hidden beyond the reach of alien scanners. The Dominion fleet moved forward. It believed the human fleet had been destroyed. Then the first signal arrived. A Dominion officer turned toward his commander. "Sir, we are detecting ships behind us." The commander frowned. "How many?" "Thousands." He turned toward the main display. Human ships appeared behind the Dominion fleet. Then more appeared on the left. Then more on the right. The Dominion formation began to break apart. The commander shouted, "Destroy them." His officers tried, but the human ships moved too quickly. They attacked from different directions. They disappeared, then appeared somewhere else. The Dominion weapons could not lock onto them. The commander stared at the battle. "This is impossible." Then another report arrived. "Human ships have appeared near Saturn." Another report, "Human ships near Jupiter." Another, "Human ships near Mars." The commander looked at the map. Human ships were everywhere, but there was something even stranger. They were not coming only from Earth. New ships were arriving from hidden stations. Human colonies that the Dominion did not know existed had entered the battle. Mining colonies, research stations, remote settlements, old military bases. All of them had ships. For decades, humanity had quietly expanded beyond Earth. The Galactic Council had never noticed. The Dominion had never noticed. Now, they were all joining the fight. The Dominion commander finally understood. Earth was not the center of humanity's power. Earth was the heart. The human fleet had been designed to fight across the entire system, and every human colony was part of the same defense network. The Dominion tried to turn its fleet around. It was too late. Human ships surrounded them. Energy weapons struck from every direction. The Dominion fleet began losing ships faster than it could replace them. On the Galactic Council's diplomatic ship, officers watched the battle in complete silence. They had arrived too late to stop the war. Now they were seeing something they had never imagined. A human officer on the council ship whispered, "They built all of this while we thought they were primitive." The council representative did not answer. He could not take his eyes off the screen. Earth had been forgotten for 41 years. In those 41 years, humanity had built hidden cities, hidden colonies, hidden shipyards, hidden weapons, and now the galaxy was seeing them all at once. But the battle was not finished. The Dominion still had millions of ships. Its commander ordered every remaining vessel to move toward Earth. "If we destroy Earth," he said, "their entire network will collapse." The fleet turned. Thousands of ships changed direction. They moved toward the blue planet. The human fleet followed, but it did not attack. The Dominion commander noticed. "Why are they not firing?" His officers checked the data. "We don't know." The commander became suspicious. "Where are Earth's main forces?" The answer came slowly. "Most of the human fleet is not following us." The commander stared at the screen. "What?" "They are holding position." "Why?" "They are holding position." "Why?" The officer checked the sensors again. Then his face changed. "Sir, what?" "There are new signals." "From where?" The officer looked toward Earth. "From the planet." The commander turned to the main display. Earth looked quiet. Blue oceans, white clouds, no visible weapons, no massive fleet, nothing that explained the new signals. Then thousands of points appeared around the planet. Hidden defense platforms, old satellites, massive weapons, ships that had been buried beneath the surface. The commander slowly stood. He finally understood. Humanity had never been fighting with everything it had. The battle in space had only been a distraction. A Dominion officer ran toward him. "Sir, we have another report." The commander turned. "What now?" The officer looked terrified. "Our ships near Earth are disappearing." "Destroyed." "No." "Then what?" "We cannot see what is attacking them." The commander stared at the screen. For the first time, fear entered his voice. "What is attacking our fleet?" The officer swallowed. Then he answered, "Earth." The Dominion commander looked at the blue planet, and for the first time, he understood the truth. They had not invaded a weak world. They had entered a fortress, and the fortress had finally awakened. The Dominion fleet was running. Only a few hours earlier, millions of enemy ships had entered the solar system with one goal: destroy Earth. Now those same ships were trying to escape. Human warships followed them through the darkness, but they did not fire. Captain Elias Ward stood inside the main command center and watched the enemy fleet move away. An officer turned toward him. "Commander, we can destroy them." "I know. They are exposed." "I know. Then why are we letting them go?" Elias looked at the main screen. "Because I want them to tell the galaxy what happened here." The officer understood. Humanity did not need to destroy the Dominion. The Dominion needed to carry a message. Earth was not weak. Earth was not alone. And Earth was no longer the forgotten world written in an old galactic file. The human fleet stopped. The Dominion ships continued running. Some had lost their shields. Some had damaged engines. Thousands were barely able to move, but they were alive, and they would carry the story of Earth to every world they reached. Far away, inside the Galactic Council's central station, the battle had ended. Nobody celebrated. Nobody spoke. The council members simply watched the final human ships return toward Earth. They had expected to see a primitive civilization destroyed. Instead, they had watched Earth defeat one of the largest fleets in the galaxy. One council officer finally spoke. "Where did they get those ships?" Another officer shook his head. "We don't know. Search every record." "We already did." "Then search again." The systems searched the galactic archives. Nothing. The human fleet did not exist in the old records. The hidden colonies did not exist. The secret shipyards did not exist. The weapons did not exist. It was as if humanity had built an entire civilization in a place where the galaxy had stopped looking. Then Dr. Mara Venn appeared on the council communication screen. The council representative looked at her. "Doctor, we need answers." Mara stood calmly inside the human command center. "You deleted our world." The representative looked uncomfortable. That was an administrative error. Mara's eyes became cold. An error that lasted 41 years. Nobody answered. "You stopped watching us." "Yes." "You stopped protecting us." "Yes." "And you stopped caring what happened to us." The representative lowered his eyes. "We did not know what would happen." Mara gave a small smile. "That was the point." The council representative looked confused. Mara continued. "For 41 years, nobody watched Earth." She paused. "So we learned to watch ourselves." The council asked about the human technology. Mara finally explained. Many years earlier, an alien listening station had crashed on Earth. At the time, humanity had been much weaker. The wreckage should have been impossible for humans to understand, but human scientists tried anyway. They studied the strange metal. They studied the power system. They studied the engines. They studied the weapons. At first, they could barely understand any of it. But human scientists kept working. One discovery led to another. They learned how the alien engines created power. They learned how alien ships moved through space. They learned how their weapons found targets. Then, humanity did something the Council had never expected. It improved the technology. The engines became smaller. The power systems became more efficient. The weapons became faster. The ships became easier to repair. And because nobody was watching Earth, humans had time to test everything. They failed many times. Ships exploded. Weapons broke. Experiments went wrong. People died. But humanity continued. For 41 years, Earth learned. The council representative stared at Mara. "So you built all of this because you expected a war?" Mara shook her head. "No." "Then why?" She looked through the window toward the stars. "Because we did not know when the war would come." The council became silent. Then something appeared on Mara's screen. A strange signal. She turned toward her science team. "What is that?" Nobody knew. The signal was not human. It was not Dominion. It was something much older. The scientists began working. The signal repeated every few seconds. A pattern was hidden inside it. Mara listened to the translated version. Her face slowly changed, the council representative noticed. What does it say? Mara did not answer immediately. She checked the translation again. Then she looked at him. It is a warning. What kind of warning? Mara took a breath. It says, she stopped. Then the translated message appeared across every screen. If you can hear this, they have already found you. The room became silent. The council searched its oldest archives. There was no match, no known civilization, no known language, no known species. The signal came from beyond the known galactic borders. Then, human sensors detected something. One object. Then 10. Then hundreds. Then thousands. They were moving toward the galaxy. Nobody knew what they were. The council panicked. The Dominion had been defeated. But now something unknown was coming. Elias Ward entered the command center. Mara showed him the data. We have another problem. Elias studied the display. How many? Thousands. Ships. We don't know. He stared at the unknown signals. For the first time that day, Elias looked worried. Then the council sent another message. This time, there was no demand. No threat. No order. The council representative spoke quietly. We need your help. Elias looked at the screen. You wanted our technology. The representative said nothing. You wanted us to surrender our weapons. Yes. And you believed humanity was too dangerous. Yes. Elias looked toward the unknown fleet. And now you want us to protect you. The representative had no answer. Elias ended the communication. The council expected Earth to refuse. Instead, a message appeared. Humanity will defend its home. A second message followed. Humanity will defend its allies. The council representative stared at the words. Allies? An officer beside of him looked confused. We never agreed to an alliance. The representative slowly shook his head. Maybe humanity did not wait for permission. Back on Earth, preparations began again. Human ships returned to their bases. Damaged vessels entered repair stations. Weapons were tested. Crews were trained, but something had changed. Alien ships began arriving near Earth, not as enemies, as refugees. Worlds that had once ignored humanity were now asking for protection. The galaxy had spent 41 years forgetting Earth. Now everyone knew its name. Mara stood inside the command center and watched thousands of ships gather around the planet. Some were human. Some were alien. For the first time, they were standing together. A young officer walked toward Mara. Doctor, the council has officially restored Earth's status. Mara looked at him. What does the new record say? The officer smiled. Humanity is no longer listed as a primitive civilization. Mara looked at the new file. The old description was gone. A new record had been created. Species, human status, actives com, number days, accursed member belled military classification, unknown. Mara laughed softly. Unknown? The officer nodded. They do not know what to call us. Mara looked toward the stars. For the first time, she felt something close to peace, but the feeling lasted only a moment. Her eyes moved toward the edge of the screen. The unknown fleet was still coming. Earth had won one war. The galaxy had finally remembered humanity. But humanity's real journey was only beginning. A new human ship prepared to leave Earth. It was larger than any ship in the old records. Its destination was beyond the old borders, beyond the places shown on galactic maps. A young alien officer watched the ship from a council station. He looked at the human captain. Where are you going? The captain looked toward the stars. Wherever we decide to go. The ship disappeared into deep space. The alien officer remained silent. Behind him, the new human record continued glowing on the council screen. The galaxy had made one terrible mistake. It had forgotten humanity. But that mistake had given humans something no other civilization had: time, freedom, and the chance to grow without anyone telling them what they could become. For 41 years, humanity had survived without the galaxy. It had learned to build without help, to defend itself without protection, and to move forward without anyone watching. The galaxy had forgotten humanity. That had been its greatest mistake. Because when humanity finally returned, it did not return as the species written in an old file. It returned as something the galaxy had never prepared for, a species that had learned how to survive without the galaxy. The war was over. For the first time in many days, the solar system was quiet. The Dominion fleet was gone. Its surviving ships had escaped beyond human space, carrying a message that would soon spread across the galaxy. Earth was not primitive. Earth was not helpless, and Earth was no longer forgotten. But the people of Earth did not celebrate for long. There was still work to do. Thousands of human ships were damaged. Many had lost crew members. Several colonies had suffered attacks. The human military had won the battle, but victory had come with a price. Inside the main command center, Elias Ward stood before a large window. He looked at Earth. The blue planet was still there. For 41 years, the galaxy had ignored it. Now, millions of eyes were watching. Alien ships had gathered near the solar system. Some had come to offer help. Others had come to ask questions. Some simply wanted to see the world that had shocked the galaxy. Mara then entered the command center. Elias looked at her. How many ships are here now? Almost 12,000. Human? About half. Elias looked surprised. And the rest? Mara smiled slightly. Alien. Elias looked back toward Earth. Why are they here? Mara gave a simple answer. They are afraid. Elias understood. For 41 years, the galaxy had believed that Earth was weak. Then humanity had defeated one of the largest military fleets in known space. Every civilization was now asking the same question. How strong was humanity? Nobody knew, not even the Galactic Council. That uncertainty made the galaxy nervous. Some civilizations sent ambassadors. Others sent scientists. Some offered trade agreements. Others offered military alliances. A few sent secret spies. But humanity had learned something during those 41 years. Trust could not be given easily. It had to be earned. The Galactic Council finally sent its largest diplomatic ship to Earth. This time, there was no military escort, no threats, no demands. Only diplomats. Only diplomats. The ship entered Earth's orbit and requested permission to land. Humanity allowed it. The council representative stepped onto Earth for the first time. He looked around in silence. He had expected a military fortress. Instead, he saw cities, people, children, schools, hospitals, factories, normal life. Humanity had not spent 41 years preparing only for war. It had built a future. The representative met Mara inside a human government building. He looked tired. I have come to officially restore Earth's place in the galactic records. Mara looked at him. Why now? The representative took a breath. Because we finally understand our mistake. Mara said nothing. He continued. We thought deleting Earth would remove a problem. And did it? No. He looked toward the window. It created something we did not understand. Mara waited. The representative finally said the words. We gave humanity 41 years without anyone watching. Mara smiled. That was your biggest mistake. The representative nodded. Yes. The new galactic record was opened. The old file appeared on the screen. Species, human status, primitive, military level, low. The council representative deleted it. A new file appeared. Species, human status, H-type galactic. Member, restored military level. Inanimur Mara looked at the final line. Unknown. The representative gave a nervous smile. We do not know where your limits are. Mara looked at Elias. He smiled. Neither of them corrected the council. The news spread across the galaxy. Earth was officially back, but this time, Earth was not entering the galaxy as a young civilization asking for protection. Humanity was returning as a power. Other civilizations reacted in different ways. Some were afraid. Some were impressed. Some wanted alliances. Some wanted human technology, and some wanted to test humanity. But Earth did not rush to become the new ruler of the galaxy. That was never the goal. Humanity had learned another important lesson. Power did not mean controlling everyone. power meant having the ability to protect what mattered, so Earth offered help to damaged worlds. Human ships carried food and medicine to colonies destroyed during the Dominion War. Human engineers helped repair damaged stations. Human scientists shared some of their technology, but they kept their most dangerous weapons secret. The galaxy slowly began to change its view of humanity. Humans were no longer called primitive. They were called survivors, builders, explorers, defenders, and eventually something even more important: friends. Months passed. The unknown signals from deep space were still being watched. Nobody knew what was coming, but humanity was ready. New ships were being built, new colonies were being planned. The Galactic Council had learned not to ignore Earth again. One morning, a new human ship stood above the planet. It was unlike any ship humanity had built before. Its hull was dark. Its engines were silent. Its design came from 41 years of human research. The ship was called Voyager 1. It was not going to war. It was going beyond the old borders. Humanity had spent decades surviving in the shadows. Now it was time to explore. Mara stood inside the command center as the ship prepared to leave. Elias stood beside her. "Do you think they are ready?" Mara asked. Elias watched the ship. "They have been ready for a long time." The engines began to glow. The ship slowly moved away from Earth. Then it accelerated. In seconds, it crossed the edge of the human defense network. Then it passed beyond the old borders. The Galactic Council watched through its sensors. A young alien officer stood beside the council representative. He watched the human ship disappear into deep space. He looked confused. "Where are they going?" The council representative looked at the empty screen. "I don't know." The young officer waited. Then a message came from the human ship. It was short, simple, and very human. The captain's voice filled the communication channel. "Wherever we decide to go." The transmission ended. The young alien officer looked at the stars. For the first time, he understood what the council had failed to understand. 41 years earlier, humanity did not need the galaxy to tell it what it could become. Humanity had already discovered that answer alone. The galaxy had forgotten Earth. It had ignored humanity. It had removed their name from its records, but that mistake had given humanity something priceless: time. 41 years without orders. 41 years without limits. 41 years without anyone telling humanity that it was too weak. During those years, humans had learned to build. They had learned to fight. They had learned to survive. But most importantly, they had learned to believe in themselves. That was why humanity had earned its place. Not because humans were magically stronger, not because they had the biggest fleet, and not because they wanted to rule the galaxy. They had earned it because they had fallen into silence and refused to disappear. The Galactic Records Chamber opened Earth's file one final time. The old record was gone. The new record remained. Orstov. Humanity status: HIV Gal. Member Defender Explorer Exactic Member Defender Explorer Unknown limits. The officer reading the file paused. Then he added one final note. "Do not forget them again." Far beyond Earth, the human ship continued into the darkness. New stars appeared ahead. Unknown worlds waited beyond them. Humanity did not know what it would find. But it was no longer afraid of the unknown, because humanity had already survived the greatest danger of all: being forgotten. And when the galaxy finally remembered Earth, it discovered the truth. Humanity had not returned as the species it once was. It had returned as something the galaxy had never prepared for. A species that had learned how to survive without the galaxy.